Hey everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Hearts Align podcast. I'm super stoked to be joined this evening by Mr. James Graham. I will say that he is the most dedicated and talented musician that I've ever met. I mean that. Um, and also, like, hanging out with James, like, you exposed me to concerts and live music, and you got me into that world, which I really thank you for because now it's like one of my biggest loves. Uh, yeah, you took me to Warp Tour, you got me into it. And of course, you were in a band, so I got to see what that was like, going to your shows and seeing what it takes. And your whole family as well. They're a very special family. A lot of people know that because you're all musically talented. You guys act. You guys are performers. And so my first question I wanted to ask you really is just, what is your relationship to
I
music?
mean, I feel honored that I introduced you to concert stuff like that. I didn't know that was like, but I'm honored that we got to share that because yeah, my relation to music goes back. Speaking of family, probably since like I was born, when I was growing up around my household, my mom and dad always played music. Pretty mainly, my dad loved
Yeah.
diehard Beatles fan, so I really learned a lot of melody from my dad and my mom as well. They both shared so much music, and there was, whether it be the Beatles or they'd had like the Sound of Music on in the background, those were just sort of musical theater and
Hmm.
then music, and like every type of music, jazz, rock, pop, you name it, was playing around the household. So I think my relation to music has been around, like, I as long as I can remember, it was always there. Um, I don't even know, I can't even like say where like I started like music. It was just sort of like I was born and music was already there. It's weird. Yeah, it's
part of
part of my
part of
DNA,
your
I guess.
life,
So,
right?
which yeah, which is great. It's just funny how I just, and then I mean even growing up, I remember watching a movie. I think one of my favorite movies is That Thing You Do. It's like a Tom Hanks movie, and I remember, I think they have, I don't even remember this, but maybe like I was like 5 years old or three, somewhere around there, and I would be like watching the movie and pretending like I was playing guitar, and I'm like a 3 year old. It's so funny, but so it's just been going. I like I like, it's a part of me apparently. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, and it's funny. I like that you said it's in your DNA because quite literally it
I guess
is.
so.
Like your ancestors line.
And apparently all my
um
siblings too. It wasn't just me. Weird.
all of you guys, yeah. Did anyone besides your parents, like so your grandparents and stuff like that, were they into
My
music too?
grandma on my mom's side uh was a singer. So, but she wasn't like, she sang for fun, and I used to go part of when she would go to church, and she had lived on the Big Island for a while, and I would go visit her, and then she would be like in charge of the choir there. So like I sort of grew up watching her sing and stuff. So but outside of my grandma, I don't there wasn't, I can't think of any other like immediate family member that was playing music. We were sort of a weird anomaly, I think, in the family. And I have like super talented cousins as well, but like as of like my dad and my mom's siblings around them and their parents, there was no one that was an obvious like musician or singer. I My dad was a stand-up here in LA, like when his 20s and early 30s, and I think, and he loved theater. So I think that performance aspect, I don't know. And then with my mom's like singing abilities, sort of just, I don't know how that became a thing. And then all my siblings became either actors and musicians. Yeah, it's a weird anomaly. I don't know.
Well, didn't your parents kind of meet through
No,
like theater?
they shared a liking of theater once when they realized that they both that
Mhm.
was the thing they both loved. they were met by mutual friends. But then once my mom found out my dad was a comedian and an actor, mom was like, "Oh, I've done that too," and rest is history. They both realized they love the same things.
Yeah, and so did your grandma have like formal training for singing, or she just
I think she
was
was
self-taught?
self-taught. I wish that was something I got to ask her, but from what I know, she was self-taught. And what makes me, I think that is the truth is because, I think when I was like 14 or 15, she decided that she wanted to play drums. And I think she was like, 75 years old, and she got like a full DW kit, and she was learning to actually play drums, like as a
Heck yeah,
75-year-old woman. And I was like, that was
that's
so cool, and like such a powerful thing to look at. So I then she could play it too. Like she could play more than four to the floor. It was impressive, and I was like, all right, go grandma, go Nana.
that's so cool. Well, because you said that she was like leading a choir, and so if she was, just self-taught and then she was able to do that, that's really inspiring. And it doesn't surprise me that she's your grandma, and your mom, I'm sure, probably like looked up to her. And, didn't your mom, or maybe it was your whole family, you guys
Yeah,
sort of led the
for
choir
years
as well?
growing up, we led a choir. I mean, we were just a part of the choir, and then it turned into us leading the choir at a church in Fillmore. And it was sort of awesome because it was sort of like our weekly thing that we did. And I think that was the first time the family, like, creatively was, I would say, working together outside of some of us being in productions. We had to all work with each other, and so we all learned our dynamics on
Yeah.
who leads what. And like, so
Oh
I
yeah.
would do the guitar and or piano sometimes, and then my sister Natalie would sort of be like leading us, and everybody else would take their harmonies, and everyone knew like sort of their place in it. So it was sort of that was a really fun experience in the sense of creatively working with your family. So, but yeah, that's sort of where we ended up for about a decade, about 10 years. Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't
oh my
until
God. Wow.
2017 or 2018 uh did our family do like our last service there. So, and it was but it was really nice. It was a nice run, and it was a cool thing to look back at. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cool, very cool. So, what's going on nowadays? I know you're definitely in at least two
No, you're
bands. Am I
right.
missing
Minimum
one?
two. For some reason I can't. I have to be in more than one project. Yeah, I'd
I,
say right now I'm in two projects. My main project is indie pop band called Miss Not Ma'am. Me and my partner in it, and we both it's just like indie pop music on the likes of artists like Luna, the Japanese House, and like the 1975 stuff. And then I play in a band called Pennies with my long. You probably know them too. My old time friends. Some of my members from my previous project, Plan Your Escape, are in that, and we sort of play. It's like pop punk music, but what we've been doing a lot lately is we play like emo nights, work a live emo night band. So that's been sort of
hmm
fun because realizing the nostalgia of what I was doing growing up is now like sort of come back into this like nostalgia era. So everyone is so that's like a
hmm
really fun thing I'm doing nowadays. But yeah, those are
Yeah, and
we
we all
do.
still
I mean,
listen to it.
I'm still listening to My Chem and Green Day and Jimmy Eat World. So it's pretty cool that like it's cool to see like our era come back to this nostalgia where like there was a minute where we all loved it. There was years where it sort of went away, and now it's people just want to go out to live, just listen to live music of people covering, you know, Green Day and like Pierce the Veil. It's weird
And
because I
yeah,
always thought a cover band being
oh,
like like Beach Boys or like the 70s stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm like I'm in a cover
oh,
band and I'm playing stuff I grew up with. So it's a weird like I don't know how it everything comes around, so it's but I really enjoy it though. It's really been fun.
and My Chemical Romance was just touring again. I know that they
Yeah.
played Portland. I wished I could, but I didn't go because I had
Oh,
just seen the
nice.
Killers there. And so it like My Chemical Romance was coming up right after, and I was like, man, I just like dropped all this money on the Killers. I guess I'll sit this one out. I would
Absolutely.
have totally
I
gone,
feel you.
but
I
I had
mean,
already.
concert tickets, especially since the pandemic, have only gone up, especially with inflation stuff. So I feel you. I've already dropped a lot of money on tickets just in this year, and I want, there's other shows I want to go to, but I have to like, gotta save money though. But I feel you though. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's, and we're seeing a resurgence. You said like My Chemical Romance, the Fall Out Boy's on this massive tour right now with Bring Me the Horizon. So, and then Blink 182 as well. So it's pretty cool. I'm loving the resurgence of it. And it's funny because I personally, uh, back in the day, I had played in a lot of like pop punk, post hardcore bands. One of them being Plan Your Escape, which is the one I was in for about a decade. Um, and you know, I played a lot of pop
Mhm.
punk, post hardcore stuff. And then I sort of shifted into, you know, I found other music that I really loved, which is like more like, I guess, it's indie is the genre, like, but I'm not sure if that even means anything anymore. But I would say it's like that
Yeah,
world, alternative, yeah, like
alternative.
you know, artists like,
That's
yeah, exactly.
what I
Like if
find
you
on the
went on
radio.
Spotify and you wrote indie, you would probably find a lot of the artists that you know that I sort of got into around like 2016, 2017. And then that's sort of what I started like songwriting wise. I've been doing that since for like 7 years, is those type of projects and playing in those type of shows. And so it was really cool right now to go back to stuff that like reminds me of like early 20s in high school. So it's just it's nostalgic, and it honestly it brings back so many fun memories like the Warp Tour. And it's cool to see that stuff coming back. So I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite memories is Linkin Park being a surprise guest at Warp Tour in
I
Ventura. That was
We lucked out. I
epic.
think there's so many people when I told them like, oh yeah, I got to be at that one date where Linkin Park played the Warp Tour, and they built up that one stage right in the middle of the two main stages. They built a specific stage just for Linkin Park, and I remember being such a flex to tell people that. And then you know we got to see the full band, you know, and I felt like that was a really special moment. So I love dropping that bomb sometimes and be like, yeah, I saw Linkin Park at Warp Tour.
Yeah, that's like one of my best memories. I don't know. That's what I love about like seeing live performances from your favorite artists. It's like it just goes into the vault of like favorite memories ever, like best experiences ever. Um, I got to see Florence and the Machine 2 nights in a row, and I was
Oh,
working her show, uh, security. And I didn't know this, but I was standing next to the chair that she was gonna jump on top of and go into the audience, like, cause she like
oh, that's so
goes
cool.
and dances with the crowd. And I was right next to this chair, and then someone told me, I
Like
think
she's come
someone
right
told me
next
it
to
was
you.
gonna happen, so I was just like, and
Amazing.
yeah, and that
That is
2 nights in a
super
row.
cool. And that's quite a flex to do security for Florence and the Machine. So that's awesome. And man, I love my partner loves Florence and the Machine. So that's so cool. That's such a cool experience.
Yeah, and I also I got to see
Oh no way.
1975 as well. Um, yeah, so man, I was lucky that
You got to
that
see
one
all
season I worked
that's so
at
cool.
Santa Barbara Bowl.
Yeah, I remember I think
Yeah,
I must have been at that show then. It was in 2016, the Santa Barbara Bowl. Was that, or 2017, the 1975? Was it that year? I think I
probably
was
it
at
sounds
that show. I
about
think it was
right.
the first time I saw them. Now I think I've seen them like 4 times. I'm gonna see them again this year. I'm such a fanboy. I
Yeah,
can't help it. I love Matt Healy and I love the band. So they're great. I can't help
yeah,
it. Their music is catchy, but yeah, great band.
yeah. And then sometimes you become a fan from seeing them live. It just like changes everything. Like Florence, I was already a fan. Then I became a diehard. And then 1975, like I knew who they were, thought they were okay. But then I saw them perform, and I love how you
Mhm.
said Matt Healy um, talked about
Yeah,
how he overcame
yeah.
addiction from heroin. Um, but he just talked about it, and then I just had so much respect for him. He came back from that, and he was up there performing, just such a beautiful human. And
Yeah.
Wow, that was so cool. That's what I love,
Yeah, and
live
I love that you
shows.
said that because I feel like what you were saying earlier about when you see like you becoming a fan of live music by seeing the artist, even if you don't really know them. And I think
Mhm.
us going back to Warp Tour, I think that was what was so beautiful about that festival was that there were so many bands and you could walk by a stage and just sort of become a fan just because you just so happen to be by them and see their set. Um, and it goes back to like community
Mhm.
too, like go like growing up, and I think you had been a part of the scene that was happening in Camarillo or Ventura County. That was like this alternative post-hardcore pop punk scene that was happening a lot at Rock City Studios out in Camarillo. And I remember like
Mhm.
every weekend, like a friend's band would be playing, or it was a happening scene. And I think, yeah, it was so cool, and I think about that a lot, and especially now because I think there is a really actually big alternative scene in Ventura County, specifically we're talking about. And it's cool because there's a lot of artists there that I think are gonna make it big. And but it's funny to see like where we had Rock City Studio as a home studio, and a lot of these places don't have like a home venue now, so it's a lot of house shows and a
True.
lot of like backyards and stuff. But it's cool to see the community of a show, right? Like even if it's a local band, I think
Mhm.
you can find your favorite band in your backyard. That's why like I always tell people like I totally encourage everyone to always go check out their music scene. You see there's going to be live music at your local, whether it be like a small like bar venue or someone like that, like go out, check out. You never know who you may find, and also like just helps like the music scene, and also helps create like it helps push the like local art, even if it's not, like not just the music, but you're also like supporting a lot of these places will have like local vendors, or like like people displaying their art in their little exhibit, or they're selling their clothes and stuff. So I think like the sense of community is like so important, and I feel like Warp Tour sort of taught me that, seeing how there's a whole economy around it, and I think that like goes all the way down to your smallest scene in whatever city you're in. So I just find all that beautiful, and like as I've grown older, especially since like 5 years ago when I was in Pioneer Escape, I've gotten more involved with like the community and sort of business side of the music stuff, and I feel like it's funny to say now because back in the day I was singing the band, and sometimes I'd be so oblivious about literally what's going on with ticket sales or what was going on with the back end, and how much we're hiring for FOH, and what's the the cost, and how to negotiate to make sure that the shows are affordable enough, but also you're supporting the venue to make sure that they're also getting by. Um, I feel like all of that,
Mhm.
I grew a lot in learning the back end of it, and I feel like now I have so much more appreciation. And I feel bad saying that because I feel like I look back at my younger self and like I didn't really understand what was going on a lot of the time. There's some stuff I knew, but there's things that you don't know, and I feel like now it's like I encourage people to explore that because there's so many cool things and there's so many people a part of any art community. So I think, and I just find it fascinating. I think it's so cool.
Um, so what's some advice you would give to your younger self, or someone who is a new performing musician trying to
I
make
would
it
say
locally?
first and foremost, mistakes are your friends. I think that can be applied to I can be applied to anything too, your career and stuff. Like make mistakes because I think that's how you learn. And I also like I really believe in it, you miss all the shots you don't take. So take the shot, and then also let's just get out there and do it. And I think another on top of you know not being afraid of mistakes, go out and support the artist. Like the community really does see, and
Yeah.
especially as like if you're a band member or a musician, whether you be just you, a singer songwriter, or if you have a group, go out and support other musicians at your local shows. Don't just show up to your set. Don't just leave once you're done playing. Like make an effort to go see as much as you can your other musicians in the scene, because also like that's the way you network. um
Yeah, was gonna say
Yeah,
connections, right?
make
Make
friends, and like that's
friends.
like your best way of networking in the scene, because not only will you meet other musicians, but you'll meet talent buyers, promoters, FOHs and stuff that you can, that will in the end help come back around. Like for me, I feel like I've always made an effort to like make friends with everyone, as much as I can with all the other musicians, and it does come back around, like, because then before you know it, one of those bands might be like, hey, so and that one artist was so cool, like they came up and supported, let's put them on another bill. So like, going to shows and talking to other musicians, that's your like best friend. I would say that's the number one way to network and honestly play more shows and be on cool, big shows. So I definitely say network and
Yeah.
make friends. Like, and also it's fun because you're in a scene where everyone is sort of sharing the same thing. So I think everyone there also wants to have friends and wants to feel supported. So I think it's a mutual, like everyone's benefiting each other by doing that.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe you'll get a phone call to go tour with someone, or even at the most basic level, maybe just get on someone's
Yeah,
show, like open for them, or
yeah.
that's
You
a
never
really
know.
good point.
It's true. You never know who knows who. And it's happened many times, like, on my end
Yeah.
too, where I'll just like, you don't know who you know, and then they're gonna throw you a bone, and then it's great. But that like literally, but if you're not out there doing it, you'll never do it. As I said, you miss all the shots you don't take, and I think you got to take a lot of shots, and then one of them usually hits. I feel like that's usually the name of the game.
Yeah, I totally believe that. And especially now with the way the internet's blowing up, like one viral video of you playing wherever, like that could be it for you. You can just all of a
Yeah,
sudden be
exactly. And
famous
that's something
overnight.
like, I definitely encourage artists to like don't be afraid of TikTok. No one's too cool for TikTok. It's like use it, whatever you have. Like at this point, labels can help you to a certain point, but right now it's actually the power's in the artist's hands. Use social media efforts. I know myself, I can do way more than I am, but I have a lot of friends I look up to who are so good on just, putting out like actually like authentic, like, content of whether it be about the music or a video that's associated with their music, and just being really engaging. And I feel like that it just goes a long way. And as you said, you literally never know. All of a sudden your song becomes trending on TikTok and boom, all then people are really interested. So, I definitely don't be afraid of social media for to fellow artists. No
Yeah.
one's too cool for it. No one's too cool.
Yeah, no, it's a tool. It's a really good tool. I'm learning how to navigate my way. I'm still in the beginning, but now that I want to
Hmm.
start, creating more content, um, I've got a long way to go, but it's so great. And I just wanted to start. And so my podcast is
Yes,
like a baby right
that's
now.
awesome.
Um, but yeah, I appreciate you being part of it though, and being on, and like you guys are awesome. Um, so what's your favorite venue to play right now? Are you still kind of hanging around Ventura County,
Yeah,
or are you doing
I
some
mean, the
LA
last
stuff
few
too?
years it's been a lot more LA because this is where I live, is in Los Angeles. So I like for Miss Man specifically, we play a lot here. I would say like, I have friends at a place called Harvard and Stone, and we know like the GM there, the talent buyer, and they're super cool. They've always been so nice to us. Resident here in LA, Kelsey, we is works there, so she knows a lot of connections. And then like there's a bunch of other spots here in LA that we played that it's really cool. There's so many great venues. I mean, there's a lot of venues here, and there's definitely like a hierarchy of chain that you have to work your way up to get to like the different venues. But it's great. I love playing any
Mhm.
shows that we can here in LA, and then I still play. We still with both Miss Ma'am and Pennies. We still play up in Ventura County a lot. We right now specifically we'll be playing the Six a lot, which is like a sort of a new venue. I guess a newish venue downtown yeah, it
Heard about.
used to be called Oak and Main, but now it's called the Six, and they have like a full stage and stuff. And so it's sort of becoming this nice, cool spot because they have a full, stage, sound system, dance floor and stuff. So it's been a cool spot. And then, Ventura's got some other cool spots as well, like the Ventura Music Hall. But it sort of comes, I love playing any show, so it's like, obviously you have your dream venues that you want to get to, but it's sort of also, I sort of fall in love with the process of just playing different venues and sort of working your way up. It's like a part of the growth of an artist, just like learning how to play a different room and a different crowd. So I sort of like all of it. I think
Yeah.
maybe back in the day I would have been like, oh, I want to play here, and like we should be there, but as you grow, you realize like the process is more rewarding than being at the end goal. And I think I just sort of something that I've learned over time is just enjoy it and be a little more present. I think maybe artists can be a little more present, because I think sometimes we look too far ahead. I think I have learned for myself, my self growth is just being happy where you're at, and just looking around and enjoy, like when I'm on stage, right? Like we're playing a show, I really try to just look around, take it all in, and enjoy that moment that you're sharing and that music you're playing, and like that note you're about to hit, syncing up with all the other members, or what you're about to sing. I think that being present just makes you also just probably a happier person. It's something outside of music that I've also been working on. It's just being happy where I'm at. I think I used to not do that, so I'm happy that I'm like on that path of growth, and not, I don't always do it, but I think I'm trying to, and I think a lot of artists can take that, can really, use that, and it just makes you also it sort of makes you more creative too. You're not so concerned about this
Mhm.
thing or that thing that's coming up. You're just sort of here.
Definitely. I will riff off that, but just because I know you
Oh
love
my
cats,
God.
Blue wants to say
Hello.
hi.
So cute. Oh my God. What's the name? Her name. Blue.
Her name is Blue. Um,
Oh my,
she's about a year and a
that's so
half. She's my
cute.
little daughter.
I would show you my kitty Kona, but she's probably under the bed sleeping. So she's still a little sleepy kitty
Oh,
right now. But if she comes out, I'll pick her up. Yeah,
yay
yes,
for
for cat
being
parents.
cat
Let's
parents.
go.
Um, but what you were talking about, that's something that I am continuing to learn as well. And I just heard it yesterday, actually. Eckhart Tolle, he's like one of the masters of the present moment. And he was saying, you know, the past and the future doesn't really exist, you know, and that might sound weird, but if you think about it, right now in this moment, you could be thinking about the past, but you're still in this moment. And right now, you could be thinking about the future, but you're
So
not
yeah,
there, you're here. And then tomorrow,
that's true.
it's
But
the present.
but yeah, exactly. The future is
So,
the present. Once you get there, it's also sort of a state of mind that we pulled that up. So I agree. I think that is powerful. Those are powerful words. Because in reality is like we're always present. Like it's your choice if you choose to just sit in the present and actually live right here in this moment. Because as I said, it's so easy to be like thinking about okay, this next thing I need to do. Oh, my schedule. I need to get that out. I need to schedule this. I need to make that meeting. I need to, call so and so just to get that work figured out. So I feel like it's too easy to get caught up in thinking about the future. And yeah, as I said, I think it's great to hear that, like trying to live in the moment. It's so much better. And I feel like I'm happier when I'm not, because also I get like, I deal with like stress, a lot of stress. So it's like more of like, it makes me less stressed. So it's like it's almost like a meditation thing in a weird way too.
yeah. Yeah. And something related to that that I also realized was for me, I have so many interests that I always feel like I need to commit to or to choose some kind of path. But I realized that I am actually creating the path. I don't have to choose some predestined or predetermined path that someone else has taken. And no matter what, it's going to be unique for me, even if I try to mimic someone else. Um, and so that's something that I was really stressed out,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, do I choose this path or
Yeah.
this path? Like,
What do people
one's
expect of
right.
me?
And
course,
then
yeah.
like, yeah, and then I exactly expectations, and then I realized as long as I'm shifting my focus and energy on this
Yeah.
moment or this day, then without even trying, the path is being paved by me, and the path appears once you're taking the
Hmm.
inspired actions that you want just during this, you know. And like you listen to, I love talking to people and asking about their paths and how they did it, but it's to inspire other people. But no matter what, again, your path isn't going to be
Yeah,
identical. It's not going to be the
I couldn't
same.
agree more. And also, like with what you're saying, for me, I know it's sort of similar to comparing, a lot of comparing. In the end of the day, too, as you said, it's like your path is going to be unique and also different. And so when you're looking at a fork in the road, as long it's like if you can just sort of be focused on what you want, I think everything else reveals itself in time. So I'm trying, as I said, like I
Yeah.
really work on trying to just not being so like comparing myself to who other people, especially as like an artist too, like comparing to so and so's here and so and so's here, and and I'm just like, oh, I should be having that many monthly listeners, or I should be having that many followers, or I should having being those shows. It's like I feel like a lot of that is distraction. And in reality is like if you
Yeah.
just focus on you right now and what the things you want to do at this current moment, everything else will reveal itself. And it's funny because I could look back at different things I've been a part of artistically, and I remember at the time I had no idea I was in the same boat as where I'm feeling right now. But everything turned out the way it was supposed to turn out, and I got here because of all of those, whether it be obstacles or, but I just, took sort of you have to walk into the dark and just turn on your flashlight and start looking for what you want. I think it's like a really easy to just like be like, nope, I'll play it safe. I will settle. And I sort of refuse to settle in life. So,
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I think, you know, I have struggled with playing it safe, with fearing being brand new at
mm,
something, not being good. Um, and yeah, so it stems from comparison for sure. I mean, obviously, nowadays it's even easier to compare yourself because all you see are everyone's highlight reels
true. Yeah.
24/7. But yeah, I think you get to a point where like the pain of not changing or trying something is greater than the pain of
Yeah.
trying it and failing or being new, like not being very good. Um, so now I'm over here. I'm playing my guitar.
Yes.
I'm
Let's go.
singing. I know it doesn't, but hey guys, it'll sound better in a few months. Like I kind of laugh because I'm like, the right now they're probably like, oh god, that sounds bad, but I bet they're gonna hear it later and be like, oh hey,
Before you
it's
know it,
got
they're
a
gonna
little
be like,
better
"Oh,
now.
that sounds really good." Like, what you played? You played? Yeah, I agree. Just what you say, it's so powerful too, and I hope people can latch on to what you said because it's gonna be so much more painful down the line to not have taken the risk. And I know for
Yeah.
me, I've always been so I love it. I've always been so much happier and more rewarded when I've taken the risk. I feel like a lot of things I have right now in life wouldn't have happened without me taking the risk, without me like meeting my partner right now. I would have never met her if I didn't take a risk on at a time where I wasn't like sort of like I just like I'm not sure if I'll go audition for this thing, and I went and auditioned for this production, and and that's where we met. But also, like, I would have never have met her if I had never taken that risk. So, and then so many other things keep revealing themselves because I just went for it. And as you said, sometimes we fail. We're afraid of failure because we don't. It's something new that we're doing, and we're afraid to be
Hmm.
vulnerable. But I think that's what makes humans amazing and beautiful is because we're vulnerable. So trying something new is so I love it. Like I work one of the things I do outside of like my 9 to 5 job is I do video editing. And years ago, I had done video editing a lot for like some other like work stuff, some freelance, and then also just creatively for like as an artist, you got to make something, to put out. And then I got pretty good at it to a point where, um, I've been able to do a lot of side work and get a side hustle and actually be like, oh, I'm a video editor. And then people, I have a friend who has her own like sort of marketing agency, and she was like, hey, I need a video editor. Would you be interested in jumping on if I need clients who need like video edits for like, like more product stuff and like events? I was like, yeah. So then I take it on. And what's great is because it makes you really learn even more because I'm like, all right, I'm going to learn how to color grade, and then I made myself years ago teach myself how to color grade and like but if I didn't, at first I was really afraid because like, what if I fail? It's something new, not sure. But then I just put in the time, and I think, and I'm so happy that I did that because now I feel comfortable with that work. And I feel like, I would have never gotten other opportunities if I had said no. And I was like, no, I'm just not sure if I can do it. But just, buckling down and doing it, I think you're going to be most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, you'll have more rewards than failures if you just try the new thing.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and I love how you said, like, you wouldn't have crafted your skills so well if you would have turned down the opportunity, but
Mm-hmm.
you decided to take it on. And that's just a really good point because okay, so something that a lot of people struggle with is imposter syndrome. Um, they feel like they're not qualified enough, so they turn stuff down. But everybody is going to feel like that when they're first trying something because you have to start somewhere. So it's kind of it's like a stage that you have to go through
Agreed.
in a sense, right?
I don't think,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
no, sorry. Didn't mean
So,
to cut you off.
oh no, I was just going to say, so congrats to you because that's something that you've learned
Yeah.
and you took
I,
that risk.
and same with you though. It's like it goes to you. It's like and as you said, I think everyone has imposter syndrome. I don't think anyone in the world, when they try something new or trying something, isn't gonna have that feeling. I think that's a totally normal human
Yeah.
feeling to have. But I just encourage people to like, rather than feeling imposter syndrome and then be like, all right, no, it's not for me. I'm like, just it's okay to live in it. It's okay to be. It's okay to be uncomfortable with it. When you do something new, being
Yeah.
uncomfortable, uh, being comfortable with being uncomfortable is a good place to be, I would say, because you grow so much from that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. Being willing to be uncomfortable and to be new. And I think it changed everything once I realized that everybody feels that way and everybody gets nervous and scared. Like, even people who are used to selling out, like, freaking Madison Square Garden, like, they still
Yeah,
feel jittery and anxious. Um, but, like, something that I learned is that you can look at the feeling of being anxious and kind of flip it and be like, I'm excited.
yeah,
Because it's sort of the
so
same
true.
feeling,
Is
right?
there? Do you have an experience where you were feeling like anxious and nervous, but then you turned it into like sort of excitement?
Yeah. Well, I would say the thing that I've done the most outside of my comfort zone was I talked about this after watching a Steve-O documentary and
Uh-huh.
learning about all the stuff he did anything and everything just
Yeah.
because he wanted to be famous, right? My my angle wasn't to be famous, to be honest. I was kind
Right.
of trying to
Right.
make money. Yeah, I needed money. But I after watching that, I just decided to go try acting gigs in LA, and I had no experience acting. Well, you
Yeah.
remember actually I did
Yeah,
try
I remember
one
that.
thing like a long
That's
time ago.
awesome, though. I love that.
Yeah.
So you were like, let's just go for it. I'm gonna go and just try some acting stuff. And was it like background work? Was it like actual like student films?
Um, so one of them was supposed to be kind of like I'm just this
Hmm.
person on the street walking by, you know, like this. So I just did a little skateboarding. So I kind of
Cool.
used my skateboarding to like kind of help me. And so that was like a really quick gig. The first thing I ever did where like I was being filmed. And so that was my first time like, you know, being in LA, being filmed. And then the next thing I did was really cool. It was a same thing, being filmed, but skating in
Cool.
the background this time. But it was at Venice Beach Skate Park. We got to
That's
skate
so
in the park
sick.
all day. Uh, yeah, and get paid like a good amount of money. So that's what I was doing before I left California, and it was really just to prove to myself that just go try. The worst that can happen is they say no, or But I
That's
don't know. I
awesome. And
guess I
you're
was lucky.
so right. Literally, it's like the worst that can happen is they'll say no. And that's okay, because guess what? You keep doing it and then you'll get a yes. It's so that is so cool that you did that. So I love that. That's a great example of just turning something that you would be nervous, anxious, or something that you wouldn't normally do and just going for it. I think that is so super cool. I love it. That's so awesome.
Yeah. So,
No, I love it. That's super cool.
yeah. So who are some of your favorite musicians
Right
right now?
now, um, there's an artist I've liked for a minute, called The Japanese House. And her name's Amber Bain. She's from the UK. And I think I've since she put out some of her first few EPs, like in 2016, 2017-ish, she as her music is super vulnerable, and I think I admire that she pretty much almost every record she's put out or EP, it's sort of been her going through like some sort of huge change in her life, whether it be like,
Mm,
relationships or just, where she's at and growth and stuff. So lyrically, her stuff has been really inspiring, and the way she writes melodies is very different, really catchy, but also very different than like how I would normally write a melody. So I would say Amber Bain for Japanese House has been, and she just dropped a new record, and it's like it's unbelievable. It sort of makes you like emotional because it's so good. But I would say Amber Bain right
oh,
now has been a really, I would say that's the artist I've been really like listening to and sort of inspired. And I've always been sort of like inspired by all the stuff she puts out, and then also she has a really good eye for visuals, whether it be her like music videos or
yeah.
her single artwork. It's just really like there's always like just more to it than just a picture. It's got a lot more depth. So yeah, I would say Amber Bain from Japanese House is
Oh,
probably one of those people currently. It always changes, but that's been a consistent one for a few years.
nice. I'm gonna check that out. That sounds cool. So it's you like people who are doing things
Yeah, I
different,
would say so.
huh?
I like people who, yeah, I like stuff that's usually that isn't what I expect it like to be, like you something that's not like uh just something that catches me off guard. I really like the stuff like that. Not to say that there's stuff that I like that's like very just like, you know, straight, whether creatively, if it's very straightforward, it's just really good. But for the most part, like I like really creative stuff. Like when it comes to like theater, right? I usually really like theater. Like now, like I love musical theater. I mean, you'll hear me singing to Mamma Mia. I love that shit. But I would say like the theater that I would act, like maybe audition for would be probably more specific, like small pieces of theater and like in like a warehouse in LA that's like only like 50 people. That's like a really specific art piece. Like those are the type of theater that I really am like drawn to. And thankfully we have a lot of theater friends
Uh-huh.
in LA who are really like into very experimental theater. So like that's the stuff that like it's very different. It's really not, it's not for everyone. But it's like the art and like the
Hmm.
type of topics they cover usually tend to be a little bit more heavy or a little bit more like uh talking about sort of social, you know, social change and our in our society and stuff like that. And so those are the things that, yeah, stuff that's different is definitely what catches my eye the most.
Yeah, same here. Um, so are you gonna maybe go for any auditions anytime
Maybe
soon? Any
right
productions?
now it's a lot more music stuff, but I have been itching to get back into theater. So I'm thinking probably next year I'll probably audition for some stuff. But yeah, this year it's like the last thing I did. I did a small production of a show called Theory of Relativity in like right before the pandemic. We closed. But it was a really cool show, and I got
Oh,
to do it with a lot of like old friends that I hadn't done theater with in a long time. So it was really rewarding that way. It's so funny because I just looked in the back of my car today, and I still have this script. It's been in my car for 3 years, just sitting in my trunk, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe it's still there. But that's the last show I did, and so, but since 2021, it's been a lot focused on music stuff. So the rest of this year will be music, but I'm hoping next year I'll get back into like a production. It might be sort of like a small fringe show, but that'll be fun. I'll get my feet wet again. So I'm just waiting for the right time and the right show because thankfully I have the luxury of just like sort of get to choose the show that I want to go out to go to. So I'm just waiting game, just waiting around.
yeah. Um, and so okay, this might be an easy question, but what's your favorite instrument to play overall? And your voice counts as well.
Okay, that's it's actually not. It depends on what it is. Like, you know, if it's like it's something like a little more like it's something like a little more like pop or like indie stuff. I think I really love playing both the guitar and the keyboard slash synthesizer. I think I really enjoy
Okay.
playing guitar for that type of stuff. And keyboards, and I like the production aspect of it too, I would say. Um, Maybe for stuff that's a little bit more like post-hardcore and pop punk, I think I'd like to sing it, you know. Also, it goes back because I did it for so long, like that specific genre, that it's just very much where my voice sits, like a little higher tenor stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like my voice is just like perfect for that genre. I guess it's like nasally and stuff. So I would say probably prefer singing that stuff and then playing, you know, the indie pop stuff with a guitar, you know, synth. But I honestly love playing everything. Play guitar with I played guitar with pennies before, and I've played bass and like hardcore stuff. So it's like I'm pretty happy anywhere as long as I'm a part of it. Uh,
Yeah. Well, you oh, that's why I said you're the most talented and dedicated
oh,
musician I've ever met. I can say that safely because you can pretty much get on any instrument and you can also sing amazingly. I've seen you sing even like opera type
that's true.
things.
That's true. I mean, that's really sweet of you to say. I don't like. I'm such a yeah. I'm always like, no. I'm like I compare, but coming back to comparing, I compare myself a lot to other musicians. I'm like, oh, I'm not as good as them, but I think I can get by. And yeah, you're true. I have taken. I am trained operatically, so if I needed to, someone needed me to do it. You know, you need me in Men and Butterfly. I'm in it. You know, I'll sing. I'll do the opera stuff.
Heck yeah. Okay, well, I also yeah, sorry if I hope I'm not embarrassing you, but I just want to thank you because you have been like the biggest musical inspiration source in my life, and now that like honestly, without you, I don't think I would have been interested as much, or even thinking I could play instruments or anything. So yeah, you've been a big inspiration, and now like even just barely learning a song on guitar, I'm like, I get it. I understand. Get it now. You
When
know,
you
like
get
it's that
that one verse
feeling.
down,
Like
those chord progressions, you're like, you know, that feeling is so cool. I know what you mean. Yeah, but yeah,
and I was just gonna say, it inspires. It motivates me to keep going, not to stop, because I want to be able to like fully play a song, you know, and just like to be able to do that because it truly
Is
is so
super fun, and
fun.
I think you're giving me way too much credit, but that is super sweet of you to say. But it's isn't it? It's so true though. Just like being able to get like learning a song, right? Starting from like you're listening to the song,
Yeah.
song you like, and then you're like, I'm gonna learn guitar or the bass part or whatever it is, or even like I'm gonna learn the lyrics and sing it. And there's something so rewarding about like once you do it all the way through one time with no mistakes, it's like the best
Yeah.
feeling. So I love that you I love that you have been able to have that feeling because it's fun. It's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to stop until I can do it out of
Yeah,
pure enjoyment. You know, it's just out of just there's nothing like, especially too when you have other friends who are musicians, like there's nothing like the feeling of jamming with someone and like collaborating and just having such a great time just in this like wholesome, just like such this high vibrational like transcendent state almost because like it's like beyond
I would
you,
say that's
like
a great way to describe that feeling. It's beyond you, and it's funny because like you're gonna be sitting in a room with other musicians. There's nothing going on, and then you all play a song together. You're sonically creating this sound that's very specific. Everything's hitting. You're in a specific key. Everyone's hitting the chords, and then you may have like counter tempos, and then like you have like a guitar and a bass that are also like harmonizing with each other along with like the vocals and the beat. And there's something so cool if you want to like break it down to be super simple like musically, is that it's just beautiful too. Like you created something out of nothing. And I think that's the reason I love
yeah,
playing music, and the
yeah,
reason I love songwriting is because you're creating literally nothing. You have nothing and then you have something, and I think that's just the coolest thing because there's nothing that like it's just you literally don't need anything other than just like melody to create it. So I think that's, I agree with you. I think that's like the best feeling for me, one of the best feelings in the world.
yeah, 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 I understand it now. Like as soon as I started getting a taste of it, you know, the first time I got
Yeah,
a
that's
taste of
right.
it was on the drums, and then now and I'm like, I get it. I totally get it, man. It's totally psyched. Let's do
You're like,
this.
they weren't lying. God damn.
um, but yeah, and then now, you know, always I've always written poetry over the years, and now I just realized, like, I think thinking back to when I was a child, I was literally writing songs as a little child. So I'm like, okay, like I did that when I was 8. Like I could still do that, you know? Um, and so yeah, I've been writing songs. So that's gonna be really fun to get to bring them to life. Thanks for encouraging me as well. I remember I wrote some
Yes, you
lyrics for you
did.
back
Yeah,
in the
you.
day.
I was like,
That
yeah, no, you've been. I feel like your poetry too. It's like you, without you knowing it, you're just a lyricist just by trade, without even knowing that you're a lyricist by trade, which is so cool. Just to have just like this, you have an arsenal of things to go from. So, and I think that's so cool. Because I feel like for me, it's always like, I write a melody and then I write lyrics to the melody. But I think it's cool. I always like think it's awesome when you have lyrics, and it's only a few times that I've done it that I've had lyrics and no melody. But it's so cool just to have so much poetry and things that you could apply if you wanted to. You could apply it and make it a song, or it could just be its own art of just poetry. So I think that's you have two forms of art you can use, which is even better.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, do you have any shows coming up soon or
Sure.
anything that you want to shout
We are
out?
Pennies. The band I plan is playing the X Games after party on July 21st at the Six downtown Ventura. Yeah, so
No.
X Games is coming to Ventura County at the fairgrounds, and that weekend we have X Games there. So if anybody wants to go out, I think there's gonna be online tickets. I don't know if the show will sell out or not, but the X Games after party will pretty much be doing a bunch of emo songs, alternative songs, skate songs, some songs from the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack. So sort of a little bit of
Oh,
everything
dude,
there. So it's like calling it Warped Fridays. So so it's just gonna be like anything you would hear at Warped Tour, we're gonna be playing at that show. So it'll be like a fun just mixture of songs. So if you're in Ventura County, please come out on that day. I think it's going to be a really fun show because the last few shows we've done there have been absolutely nuts. So please come out, have fun.
I I've seen videos too of you guys, of your band Pennies playing. So yeah, everyone, if you're out there, please go for me. I wish I could
Yeah.
get on a plane. So please show up and play some music.
Show up for Linnea. That's all you got. That's what we're asking. Show up for Linnea.
Go ahead, rock out. Also, I can say I stage dived because of you too. So thank you.
That one, I'm very proud. That's awesome. I'm so happy I do that. I mean, there's something it's crazy that I still stage dive now, but I can't help it. Even though I know I'm taking every time I do it, it's just a gamble. But I'm happy that you're stage. I'm happy that I got to be help you with the first stage dive. That is so cool.
Heck yeah, and you also taught me the art.
There's an art to it. There's definitely an art. You definitely learn by failure. But there's an art to it.
You taught me how to effectively do it. That I remember once we got stuck in a crazy Sleeping with Sirens fangirl crowd. Like it was like we were skating and we're like, all right, let's go up. We got to crowd surf out of this.
It was the only logical way to get out of it. You have to use. So I was like, either we get through like thousands of people walking to the back, or we just go up. And honestly, that was the best case because everyone's so sardined in. We're just rolling over people, and it was honestly I haven't thought about that in forever, but that was the best way to get out and the fastest way to get out. So if you're stuck in a crowd, people just crowd surf your way out. That's the easiest way to get out.
And everyone, you can find James on Instagram at what is it, Jamie Lou Music or James Grant?
That's my nickname. I go by Jamie as well. So Jamie Lou Music. I mean, yeah, it's right here in the upper corner. So that's where you can find me. And yeah, I play in a band, Miss Not Ma'am. It's my main project. We're writing new music, so that should be coming out at the end of the summer. And then I'm playing Warped Fridays with Pennies all summer long in Ventura. So come out for and sing along to your emo classics.
Heck yeah. If I get out there at all in the summer, I will go. I don't know if I will, but and then you guys are on Instagram too?
At Pennies Band and then Miss Not Ma'am. Yep.
Miss Not Ma'am. And you guys are on Spotify, so you can check you out on there.
Both projects have a lot of music, so there's plenty of stuff. If you want more like pop punk stuff, Pennies. If you're more into like indie pop, just pop stuff, it's gonna be Miss Not Ma'am.
I love your guys' band name too, because they're really like, I answer calls a lot at work, and when the rare person calls you Miss, I swear it's like this warm feeling you get inside, and like, and you hear ma'am, and all the time you're just like, yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
So I love your guys' name. It's legit.
That one. That is definitely my partner Kelsey, because I mean, same experience. She works. She was bartending, and she had a lot of time. She was like, "Nah, it's Miss." She's like, "Miss Not Ma'am." And then when we were coming up with the project, she was like, "Why don't we do that?" And I was like, "That's the name. That's got to be the name." So then we went with that. Shout out to Kelsey.
All right. Well, thank you so much, James. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before we go?
Thank you for having me. I think this is really cool that you have this awesome podcast. You've had a lot of my both of our mutual friends on, so it's been fun to watch it. So everyone, please support Linnea and her podcast. It's really cool, and also I think it's a great tool to just talk about growth, and as well as like and your and just being an artist, and not just artist, but also like just like growing up, like just going through and fighting sort of like fighting your way through demons, as well as saying yes and not being afraid to take chances. So I think this is a great conversation. I'm excited to see all the rest of your podcasts and all of your future guests.
Thank you so much. I'm going to try to keep it coming and having inspirational people like you on, people who are out there going for their passions and living by their bliss, and just making this life as beautiful as we
Yes,
can,
I couldn't
one day
agree
at a
more.
time.
As Census Fail once said, follow your bliss.
Yes. All right, James. Well, thanks again. I hope you have a great rest of the night. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and
Peace. Bye. Good talking.
peace. Bye.